Peter Lynch, koji je jedan od najvećih magova u svetu investiranja, u ovom videu govorit će o tome šta treba uraditi u periodu recesije i zašto po njemu nema razloga za brigu. Iako se starost njegovih knjiga o finansijskoj edukaciji sada već meri u decenijama, smatramo da njegova reč itekako ima težinu, s obzirom na to da je njegov godišnji povrat firme iznosio skoro čak 30%, i to 13 godina za redom. A njegovo trenutno bogatstvo se procenjuje na skoro $500 milijardi.
Ovaj video sponzorisan je od strane Kripto Unity-a, start-up projekta naših ljudi sa Balkana. Kripto Unity platforma, za razliku od mnogih ostalih menjačnica, pruža interfejs jednostavan za korišćenje sa tehnologijom hladnog novčanika, takozvanog cold walleta za bezbedno skladištenje kriptovaluta. Njihova kriptovaluta KAT, token menjačnice, je trenutno u pretprodaji i još uvek se može kupiti po sniženoj ceni, koja se svake nedelje do kraja pretprodaje povećava. Svi naši pratioci koji odluče da kupe preko linka koji se nalazi u opisu videa dobijaju bonus od 5% KAT tokena.
From 1977 to 1990, he managed the Magellan Fund, growing it from, you ready for this, $20 million to $14 billion in 1990 at the time of his retirement. Buy what you know is what Peter taught us. I'm so curious these days how you're thinking about the economy.
Well, I think people, they're investing in individual stocks. It's sad they're careful when they buy a refrigerator or an airplane flight. They're careful with their money, and they'll hear about a stock on the bus, and they'll put $5,000 or $10,000 on it. They have no idea what they do. So you really got to be careful. Look at the company, look at the balance sheet. What is the reason the stock should be higher? The sucker's going up is not a good reason.
Is your sense, though, that the style of investing that you pioneered is still doable and winnable today?
Well, I think looking for something different, looking for something that's a good story. I mean, who would have guessed TJX, a local company, would have gone up 50-fold, or Stop and Shop would go up 10-fold, or Analog Devices, or NVIDIA. I couldn't pronounce NVIDIA. So you have to find a company that's either a turnaround or a company that's going to grow, like Panera or, Family Dollar stores. I'm not saying that buys now, but that's what's made our, Sears is rolled over. So, so Kmart's rolled over, IBM slowed down. But we've had new companies come along. I mean, that's the nature. You have to be looking for new companies and look at the balance sheet. If you can add 5 and 5 and get reasonably close to 10, you should be able to look at a balance sheet and say, here's 2 depressed companies. They've gone from 50 to 3. One company's got $3 million in cash and no debt. One's got $3 million in debt and no cash. Which one are you going to buy? I mean, that's not too hard to do.
Peter, I watched you closely because I was in the business back then. What do you think of the financial sector right now and what happened? We saw with First Republic, and I'd just like to get your insight there since you were so good at that sector.
We had a terrible financial crisis in 1991. I think almost every major bank in Texas went under. Bank of New England, one of the oldest banks in the country, went under. It's like, in 08, 09, the banks were doing these no-doc loans and second mortgages and home improvement loans, and people are buying boats with it. Now the banks are being much more careful. So we've gone through other crises. Some banks will go under. 400 went under after 08, 09. Now we have stress tests. I think the banking system has improved. There'll be some companies go under. That's the nature of it. It's nothing like, imagine 1980, 81, we had double-digit inflation, double-digit unemployment, and people were the Japanese were going to take over the world. I mean, we were hopeless. I mean, there's always something to worry about. I'd really, in my over 50 years of doing this, I think I'd be worried if there was, somebody didn't bring up something to worry about. That's the nature of the business.
I was joking because I'm a Reagan guy, and I was there. I started at Merrill in 1981, so I remember what happened. I remember my feelings in 1981, and I remember my feelings, how I felt by 1985. Ugly. And you had a tailwind. I had a tailwind because of what we did. We're not going to do that again. We're not going to cut taxes. We're not going to stimulate the private sector. We're kind of headed the other way. Did you have a tailwind? Will we ever have a tailwind again with this generation?
Well, we've had 13 recessions since World War II, and we've had 13 recoveries. Maybe we're going to have one. If this is a recession, it's probably the most predicted one ever. You know, I never know when we're going to go. I'd love to know the future. I think it would help. I'd be a better investor. I'd pay $5 extra for next year's Wall Street Journal. It would really help. Right. I cannot predict the future, but this recession is so expected, so predicted. Maybe it's coming. I don't know. Wait till things get better. Some signs of things getting better. You have an edge. You might be in that industry where things are starting to improve. There's a lot of positive coming along. The price of oil has gone from over 100. It's now 80. 1 year out is 78. Natural gas has gone from $8 an MCF to $2.30.
You were talking about walking through a mall and being able to touch the merchandise and feel it and see it. And then I think to myself that we now live in this digital age, this digital universe, and how difficult it may be to walk through the store and feel it and see it in the same way. This is especially true of crypto and other things which are almost an abstraction, and how you think about investing in those things today. I mean, you know, Warren Buffett, for a long time, stayed away from technology, in part because I think he felt it was an abstraction.
Yeah. But he bought Apple. Apple was not that hard to understand. I mean, how dumb was I? My daughters bought us an iPod, you know, for, I think, $250. I think they're making for that for my music. And they're making only $50 on their computers. Not doing very well. But they had a nice balance sheet. And, you know, I should have done some work in Apple. Amazing. That's not a complicated company. The iPod financed the iPhone. I mean, here's a great story. Look at analog devices. Look at Teradyne. Look at TJ Maxx. Look at the turnaround at Target. I mean, you can see these companies coming. Look at Wingstop. I tried those wings. Wow. I'm not saying that buys now, but they're out there. Look for a company that's going to do well in the next few years, 5 years. Look at their balance sheet, or look at a turnaround. When companies go from crappy to semi-crappy, the stock goes up. When it goes from semi-crappy to good, they go up. When business gets to be terrific, get out.